So, Danny, you can't call out simply because there's an apocalypse. Yes, I understand the world is ending, but we still have deadlines, and in fact, we have shorter deadlines because we got to get everything done before the world ends. So I need you to get down here and record this intro, otherwise we're never getting a chance to release this episode. So, John, who do we have tonight?
Tonight, we've got Amy Grech and Robert Ottone. Robert is especially interesting because the man just pulled down a Stoker Award back in June.
That's writing stuff. Don't talk about that yet. No, yet.
But it's there. It's an award. It's not writing. It's award. In either case, Chuck, one of these two wonderful people has not had a beer since 2018. Who do you think that is?
It's not had a beer since 2018. Beer or beard?
Beer.
Beer. Okay, that may change my answer. Looks like Amy's drinking one right now, so I'm going to go with Robert.
Robert, you want to tell us about the fact that you haven't had a beer since 2018?
Yeah. So I had stomach surgery in 2018. So I'm not really supposed to drink anything that is has bubbles in it at all. So beer was like the first thing to go. I wasn't really a huge beer guy anyway. I do like liquor and wine. Though recently I've been cheating on the whole bubble thing, but I've been having one can of soda like a day to be bad.
Okay.
And it's been amazing. It's like I take that first sip and I just hear like electronic music in my head, and it's just like another spectrum of color lays over the rest of it. It's really wild.
But you're just the right age. You're just the right age to remember those crazy 7-Up commercials on TV.
Yes, it makes 7-Up yours.
Exactly. Yes.
You open the tab, and then there's this giant panorama of activity and neon lights and dancing and singing, and you wonder, what the hell am I doing wrong that I don't see this when I turn the TV off?
I'm just drinking.
We've all been there. My beer addiction, and it's not really an addiction. It's a habit that I have. My grandfather was very much into beer. He would have a beer every night with his dinner. This is my mother's father. And when we were 2 or 3, my brother and I both got a sip of his beer. I thought it was terrific, and I was really happy. My brother fell asleep and then woke up an hour later with a big old red face, screaming his head off. And my grandmother looked at my grandfather and said, "Joe, you son of a bitch, he's got a hangover." So these habits have kind of perpetuated in the decades since.
I have a quick similar story. When I was little, I don't want to give away one of my fun facts, but I will say my brother and I, we were toddlers, and it was an adult party, and they left their drinks on the coffee table within reach, and it was strawberry champagne or something with alcohol, and I love strawberries. So I was like pounding them back, and then we were drunk at the end of the night.
It's tough when it goes down easy, when it just tastes so good, when you don't know that you're being poisoned. It's easy to fall into those traps. That's the problem I have. We get this grapefruit rosé, my wife and I, and it's ridiculous. It's like drinking fruit juice, but it gets you messed up real quick. And I'm just like, what happened? Where'd the bottle go? My wife's like, you drank it, dummy. So it's
bubbles. So it didn't have bubbles, though, right?
I can't really have bubbles. If I go slow, I'm okay. Like with the soda, it takes me like an hour to drink one can. So we get the Aldi soda, and it's remarkable.
The Trader Joe's near me doesn't have it anymore, but they used to have the not your grandfather's root beer, that sort of stuff. And then you realize you drink 5 or 6 of them, and then you can't stand up, and you can't really understand why.
I miss those. That's something I used to drink when I could still have stuff like that. I remember they had a Not Your Father's chocolate soda also. Yeah. Have you had that one?
I've never seen that one.
Yeah, I haven't
Oh.
seen that one either.
It's really good. It's really good. I used to drink that, and then I came out of the surgery and I was just like, all right, like I have no problem giving up beer. And then I wasn't allowed to drink alcohol at all for a while because I was in recovery, but ever since then I'm a cheap date. It's one drink and I'm done, which is great.
Yeah. My heavy drinking days were when I was living in Japan, because I was working with teachers and I was working with folks that basically needed to unwind after work. So I got my boot camp done over the 2 years I spent there. Then I came back and I tried to go toe to toe with the Russians in the family, and I learned that I was not, in fact, as good a drinker as I thought it was, as I thought I was. Luckily, my wife did not leave me at that point. She had every right to. Lara's been sticking it out with me for 25 years. God love her. And I haven't been drinking much at all for the past 2 years. There's no call for it anymore. I don't need to do it anymore because I don't go out much anymore. I've got health issues that make it not a great idea.
Mm-hmm.
But I do still have a 6-pack of non-alcoholic Corona in my living room, which I look at every now and then, but haven't really felt compelled to drink. But on the other hand, I've also got hard liquor in my desk just in case, and because you never know.
In case of emergency.
Phone call at 2 a.m.
I usually I'll come home on like a Friday, and my day job is a teacher, and I'm never stressed out by the kids ever. Like, I love my students. I'm actually very excited for the school year to start, because one of my classes, I have a few of my boys from last year, and those are my boys, and I'm a big fan of those kids, so I can't wait to see them. But I come home on a Friday, and my wife will be, when it's nicer out, she'll be outside. We have a nice little screened-in deck, and we'll have some cocktails. We'll listen to music and just unwind. And it's I look forward to it all week. It's I don't look forward to a ton of things, but I look forward to sitting with the wife outside when it's nice enough out, when it's not too hot or not too cold, and just enjoying a couple cigars, enjoying a cocktail, and listening to, usually it's 80s music. She has this banger of an 80s playlist. Every playlist my wife makes is better than the next, or better than the last, rather. And she just made this 80s one, and it's great. It's perfect. I suggest songs. Sometimes they make the cut, sometimes they don't. So
it's tough having an editor. It really is.
True.
I don't know. Whenever we go on a trip, we always end up listening to Lara's stuff.
What is Lara like? What kind of music does she like?
Lara is an old school punk who listened to a lot of The Cure.
Awesome.
In her thing, and she's got a better rotational aspect than I do, because I will listen to the same playlist 50 times in a row, and it makes her crazy. But that's what I do.
Yeah.
So, and it's podcasts, it's NPR, it's Wait, Don't Tell Me, it's Happiness Lab, it's all that interesting stuff.
Yeah.
So we're never bored. And The Office Ladies is her thing. She's gone through that entire series, and now they're doing Office Ladies second drink, which is where they go back over certain episodes just to have to do a deep dive on them. So
that's awesome.
That's
I didn't know they were doing
fun
that.
to listen to. Yeah.
I re-listened to one podcast. So there's this podcast that I listen to called Halloweenies, and the original premise was that in the lead up to Halloween 2018, David Gordon Green's Halloween 2018, these guys who wrote for a website called Consequence of Sound did this because they were all hardcore Halloween fans. They did a rewatch and analysis of every single Halloween movie leading up to Halloween 2018. And their analysis and their takes, I've never once listened to a film analysis podcast where I've been correct. I've never felt that way before until I listened to this, and I was like, oh, these guys and I are very much on the same page. This is crazy. So I re-listened to that, and actually, because spooky season is upon us, it is almost time for my annual re-listen to that, and I've re-listened to it every year since they finished all of it, which I guess would have been right before, right after Halloween 2018. They finished all of them, because then they did the Rob Zombie ones, which I'm not that I don't like them or anything, but they're not my favorite. But yeah, then they did Halloween Kills, which they were on the same page as I was, and that we all hated it. And we were all on the same page about Ends, which we all loved. Very strange. Very strange. But yeah, that's like the only one that I re-listen to. I listen to a lot of drag queen podcasts, to be honest, because I love drag like more than anything other than my wife. And it's just the best art form in the world to me. So I listen to a lot of podcasts hosted by drag queens.
Yeah, and this podcast, you listen to this one religiously all the time, right?
I have everything you guys say tattooed on my arm. I have it on my inner thigh, on my left leg. I'm running out of space, to be totally honest.
Yeah.
I watched, I went back because I have, I subscribed and I watched, but I rewatched the Epiphany Farrell episode, and I really enjoy that because I like Epiphany stuff a lot. That Jim Chambers guy is pretty good too.
Yeah, I enjoyed the Jim Chambers episode.
Yeah. You go. I've heard of these people. They sound vaguely familiar.
Right?
But yeah, I love that. I love that Epiphany Farrell one.
Been very fortunate. When I hit 64, I turned to my friends and said, "Read to me for my birthday," and that's how we started getting all those Short Bites readings.
That's awesome.
Do another
Yeah,
round
that's a great idea.
Yeah, it's really important for us to support our community because nobody else supports our community. I was saying this at Stoker, I felt very strange being the old white man taking the standard language of every oppressed group. If we don't help ourselves, nobody else is going to help us. We have to lift each other up. We have to work. It sounded eerily familiar, having been a child in the 60s.
And now that we've got the situation in 2025, all that language is going to be coming back because all those organizational tips and tricks are going to be in serious need of updating and redistribution. So it fits. But yeah, it's well, okay. When you deal mostly with, I can't even use the word classic science fiction because it's split into 50,000 different subgenres. Yeah. The space opera, the military fiction guys, all that, the old white dude thing. You get very, very self-conscious very quickly because these guys are writing for almost exclusively other white folks and other middle-aged white folks and other right-leaning politics white folks. And the thing is, my politics don't match. My target audience doesn't exactly match. There's some overlap. And the thing is, I've got all the tropes down. I know what I'm doing. I'm just having trouble thinking of new things to say with it. So that's my big thing. There's always subtext. There's always interesting characters. There's always new situations. But at the same point, you're basically writing a space opera. A space opera is basically a Western. And you write that over and over again. And if you're going to do that, why not just write an actual Western? But I wanted to do that. And I couldn't figure out how to sell it to anyone because it would have been an immigrant story more than anything else. So I will figure this out eventually. I'm not going to give up just yet. I need a better framework is what I need. And eventually I'm going to figure this out because I'm experimenting with weird stuff all the time.
I have a novelette that's like a sort of an immigrant story, weird Western that came out. And I was like, well, I just want to tell this story because I think it's interesting and it's like kind of, it's extremely dark and everything. And I had a lot of fun with it. So like, I don't know. I think taking, an immigrant story and putting it in any context is really a thrilling one, whether it's science fiction or whatever. I remember, do we all know the movie The Third Man?
Yes.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So Yeah. So there was talk that they were going to remake The Third Man for the longest time, and Leonardo DiCaprio was going to produce it. Only it was going to be a science fiction version set on a space station, and all of the immigrant stuff was going to be presented through the lens of like science fiction aliens and stuff like that. So like more, extraterrestrial, as opposed to like the concept of a country torn apart by war, and you have like the Russians, the English, the Americans, instead of something like, so it would be a totally different way to present kind of an age-old story. And I remember thinking that was a really cool idea. And even though I'm the Third Man purist, I would be very much in line to see that. So I think if you could take any kind of story like that and present it in an interesting, fun way, that shows the support for what you clearly support, then I think you're doing the right thing.
It's more than just the interesting, fun way, because one of the things that science fiction does exceedingly well is let you get 100 pages in before you realize that you're rooting for people you never would have rooted for if the actual historical terms had been used. You're given an opportunity to actually reevaluate your view of a problem because it's the blue people, or it's, this group over here with 6 heads, and you don't necessarily realize that it's referential to this historical period or that historical period. It's one of my favorite things about writing science fiction is exactly that. And if we can circle back to the Westerns, if only you knew somebody who's about to put out their 5th Western, John, maybe you know somebody who might be able to help you with that a little bit.
My Western idea was a story of the very first synagogue that was built in Denver. And the thing is, I have faith that I can figure out this thing one way or another. And but I put it aside because my brain can't work on more than one thing at a time. So I had this idea, put it aside, wrote 3 more books in a completely different universe with a co-author, and now I'm gravitating back to figure out how do I finish this story. So that's where I am right now.
That's awesome.
Well, hats off to all of you. I haven't tackled the Western yet, so you never know.
Yeah, I feel like you would knock it out of the park, Amy.
Oh, thank you, Robert.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about stuff you guys have tackled. Maybe we'll get Amy to do some reading.
Ooh, there's an idea.
Absolutely. Thank you, Charles. I'll be reading from my poetry chapbook, A Shadow of Your Former Self, published by Alien Buddha Press. I'll be reading a couple of poems. Give me a sec here. A Shadow of Your Former Self. Rich or poor, you never know what's in store. The virus doesn't discriminate. It's a cause of great debate. Thousands of people won't survive. What a time to be alive. How best to prevent the spread and limit the number of dead. Social distance, some resistance. Gone tomorrow or here to stay, it's impossible to say. So close yet so far, 6 feet apart, breaks your heart. Wear a mask to protect, one less person to infect. Dreams deterred, undeterred, you forge ahead, not better off dead. COVID-19 antibody test causes civil unrest. Negative results, you're in the clear, one less thing to fear. If antibodies are present, you resent self-imposed quarantine. Endless Zoom calls so mentally draining, you aren't the only one complaining. This new normal seems anything but. You carry on no matter what. Ensconced in a protective bubble, you hoard supplies, hoping to avoid trouble. Amazon, FedEx, UPS provide contactless delivery. An endless onslaught of essentials, so much untapped potential. The struggle is real, you don't know exactly how to feel. Some days you're perfectly content to spend streaming Disney Plus, HBO, Hulu, Netflix, Prime Video, Showtime, Shudder, so sublime. Other days you wake up screaming, order takeout with reckless abandon, Thai for lunch from your favorite place, sushi for dinner, such an expensive disgrace. You spend hours texting friends. Will this mindless boredom ever end? Work weeks pass and you're scrambling to pay rent. An unexpected email from the head of talent at the creative firm where you had a cushy job, notice all projects are on hold, catches you off guard. Sometimes the world can be so cold. As a consultant, you didn't have to leave your Brooklyn apartment to make a buck. Talk about dumb luck. A shadow of your former self. Suddenly you're without wealth. Your finances have become a house of cards. Now you're left rummaging through shards. Lost in a momentary state of panic until you realize you were hired as a W-2 employee. That makes you eligible for unemployment. Apply is something you quickly do. You discover too that due to COVID-19, you may qualify for an additional $600 a week. You shriek with joy. The pandemic, rife with strife, won't destroy your quality of life, or so it seems. You still have plenty of hopes and dreams. And I'll read two more quick ones so you get a sense of my range. Actually, three, I stand corrected. Pandemic proverb. Sometimes the only way out is through. On the other side waits a better you. Hungry for more. Cannibal. Hungry for more. Inquire within. And my final poem is entitled Softbox. Red, wet, blind, writhing worm. Softbox, locked inside him, rare parts. Thank you.
Thank you for that, sir. Very nice. So, you don't just write poetry. What's some of the other stuff that you write?
I also have published widely horror fiction, everything from ghost stories to splatterpunk and crime fiction. I have a New York City novella, two New York City novellas looking for a home. I've also written dystopian fiction. I have a dystopian novel also looking for a home. It just depends what my muse has cooked up for me.
What about you, Robert? What kind of range do you write in?
I write for middle grade all the way up to adult, and I've never done poetry. I've done flash fiction. It's about as small or short as I can probably get. I don't know poetry. I've never really put pedal to the metal, but so I write for middle grade. I write for adults. I would like to do a picture book at some point. I've got a couple ideas for different picture books, but that's like a whole other world that I don't know how to explore yet. But I feel like picture books is the next mountain to climb for me. And I'm actually working on a nonfiction thing right now. So that's probably the next mountain to climb. And then after that, maybe picture book.
Yeah. I know people who do picture books, and they're always surprised how everyone thinks they're easier. That must be easy writing. Yes.
Yeah.
I think
imagine it's more challenging, right?
Yeah. There's something like really special about the concision of words in a picture book. It's really because I think I went to a reading by Dan Pawlowski, and he mentioned his latest picture book is 600 words. 600 words. And it was like, how? How do you tell a complete narrative in 600 words? And it was wonderful. I mean, it's not, obviously, the guy's been doing it for like 100 years or something. I don't know. He's not that old. But it was really interesting. And it was really funny and sweet and cute. And the kids that were there also loved it. And I was like, this is something I would like to do. I feel like I could do this. I could challenge myself to writing a 600-word picture book. I feel like I could do this.
I don't know if it's ever going to come out, but I actually did one, but it was not for children. The idea essentially was I have a character in my Tiago series who is a subversive, and she wrote a subversive children's book, and I felt compelled to actually write her book. So it is about lying and cheating and why they're valuable things to know how to do. And it is really a genuinely terrible lesson for children. And one of these days I will actually sit down and decide if I'm going to put it out. But everything you said about the marketing challenge doubles when you're putting something out that is clearly not for the group, that everything of that style is for that group. But yeah, it's a challenge. I took I think it was 1,000-word or 2,000-word story one time and cut it down so that it could be told in a minute. And it gets you down that 500-600 word range. and it's breathtakingly hard to actually, like you said, to complete it. It is really, really a tough thing to do. I wish you a lot of luck with that. I'm very excited to see what you do with it.
Thank you.
know,
Yeah, keep
always
us
keep in,
posted.
and always keep in mind that Stephen King wrote about a children's story in the Wastelands, and then someone on his staff says, you have to write this book. And he did. And it's a terrifying book that's only like 15 pages long.
Yep.
Yeah, it's true.
M. Night Shyamalan did a children's book that went along with Lady in the Water to sort of flesh out the fairy tale of the Lady in the Water in the movie. And it is so good and so sweet and like just beautiful. And it's like, wow, you know, like there's really a lot you could play with here. There was something else I just saw. What's that?
Sorry to interrupt. Do you remember the title of it?
The Lady in the Water.
Oh, that's the movie and the book. I'm sorry, I missed.
Yeah, there's a children's book.
Oh, like a companion. I see. Got it.
Yeah, it's really cute. It's really good. But there was someone else who just came out with the guy who did Calvin and Hobbes just came out with an adult book or an adult picture book, and Bill Watterson, right, is his name.
Yeah.
And it's supposedly excellent and terrifying. And so I'm not really surprised that it's scary because there was always like that weird subtext of creepiness going on underneath the surface of Calvin and Hobbes. But yeah, no, I love that. I think the shortest thing I ever wrote is actually in my latest collection, and I kind of wrote it out of spite. And it's in the collection, and I'm very proud of it because it's gross and weird. But it was totally written out of spite.
Oh, wow. Well, my shortest piece I just read, Hungry for More, is Bite-Sized Cannibalism. 6 words.
There you go.
Yes.
I like the phrasing. Yeah, my favorite one in terms of children's books from a guy you'd never expect a children's book from was Art Buchwald. Actually wrote one children's book.
Art Buchwald?
Yeah. He wrote a children's book about a road that is tired of going to the beach and would like to go to the mountains on vacation twice a year.
Oh, wow. That's fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Let's see. The only published flash fiction I've got was in Tales of the Canyon of the Damned. It was a 995 word story. 1,000 words was the max. So I got it down to 995 words. And this was for Preston Lee's Legendarium website when that was back a thing. And he had I don't know, I don't remember if there were awards. I think there must have been, but it was a long time ago. And I don't remember. Preston, if you're watching, tell me what we won. He's not a horror fan, so I don't expect him to see this. Doesn't matter. If you're watching, tell me what we have. Tell me what the prizes are. And I basically had this weird 4-page thing that I wrote completely, in a mad rush about the destruction of the moon, and it just didn't make any sense. It didn't go anywhere. 24 years later, I figured out, wait a minute, I can tell the same story, but I have the frame now. So I make the whole thing, operate with the moon's destruction in the last 2 sentences.
Oh, wow. We have that in common, Charles, John, and I published with Tales from the Canyons of the Damned. Have you published with them, Robert?
No.
Okay.
I've heard of them,
you
but
have
I've
to
never
join us. Join us. Yes.
I'm down. I'm always down to do something.
The way that I got in was because I was at John's birthday, and I'm talking to Daniel Arthur Smith, and he says, everyone always pitches me the same story. I said, I've got a story about a woman whose job is to fling her friends' dead bodies into the sun because they're asteroid miners and there's no place to bury them. He was like, I'm in. That was
that's a great concept. I met Daniel at, he did this group reading in Maspeth, Queens before the pandemic. And that's where I met him. And then I saw him at KGB Bar a few months later, and he said, I'd love a story from you. And I said, sure. What's the word count? And I gave him a story entitled The Electronic Vampire about a blood donation center in the future. And things go awry. I don't want to give the twist away, but it was a fun story to write.
The KGB bar makes an impromptu appearance in my second salvage ops book.
Oh yeah,
It's a Russian space station, and they have a KGB bar.
that
yes.
fits. Awesome.
I'm reading there in January.
Oh, very
cool.
Ooh,
Very
are you
excited.
reading here now?
Yeah.
What's that?
Could you be
I'm reading now. Oh God, you surprised me. So I guess I mentioned it. So I guess what I'll do is I'll read the thing that I wrote out of spite. Then you can ask me why. It's very short. It's like I said, it's flash fiction. It's right here. You can see how teeny tiny it is. But it's called Inside Out. I've read this a couple times. I like reading it, and I like the memory of why I wrote it. Inside Out. Impossible wetness and unbearable pain. A soaked bedspread. A mixture of blood, sweat, and other bodily seepage. I cannot blink. My teeth chatter. My lips have vanished. When I try to rise, the sheet sticks to me, and as I peel it back, I notice a sharp jab as sinew separates from meat. Unable to move, then meat from bone. Unable to move further, I spill to the floor, the muscles in my legs exposed and drooping under the strain. I accept this. I feel the pain begin to overwhelm and drown out any rational thought. If I could close my eyes, I would. I reach into my chest and part the lung, shifting the muscle and threads of flesh the best that I can. Fingers trembling, I grip my heart and squeeze as tight as I can. My body seizes and the world blurs to black. Spite. Spite is a good motivator for those of you watching.
So in spite of that,
I think we're all at the age where things like impossible wetness become a reality. You can't be afraid of it anymore.
So I wrote that I was getting my MFA at the time, and
fancy pants.
What's that?
You fancy pants.
Yeah, one of my 3 current master's degrees, and so I was like, all right, cool. I had already been teaching, so I was like, I'm going to get an MFA because why not? And so I was in the program and I was writing my book, The Triangle, because my MFA is in children's literature. So it was either write 3 picture books or write a novel. And I was like, I'm going to write a novel. So I wrote The Triangle, and all throughout the program, the people in charge were telling me horror doesn't sell. YA horror and YA science fiction is bullshit. We don't want you writing this. We want you writing memoir. We want you writing something like John Green, which I'm not going to... I like John Green quite a bit, actually. One of the filthiest, most nasty sexual things that I've ever read in a book was written by John Green for a YA audience, and it makes my skin crawl every time I read it. But that's not what I was doing. So I was like, I'm going to stick with this YA thing. My 2 mentors were very encouraging because they were sci-fi fantasy YA authors, Dia Calhoun and Lorianne Grover. And I'm very thankful, and I love them both. They were like, don't listen to them. Keep going. I was like, okay. So I write this thing. And part of the final thing was they were like, the whole class, our whole graduating class has to do a performance of a reading of a flash fiction. So I was like, horror sucks, right? Horror sucks? Okay, let's fucking play. So I wrote the thing that I just read to you, and Paul Harding loved it. Pulitzer Prize winning author. Loved that. And I was very proud of that. He liked it because that's somebody that whose opinion I give a shit about, liking the thing that I wrote. So I performed that and everyone was like, wow, that was intense. And I was like, yeah. And then I went on to be the only person in my graduating class who was published, and my book won the Bram Stoker Award.
Yeah.
So I guess horror for a YA audience does work in some ways. Spite.
Absolutely. That's awesome.
Revenge is the best. Success is the best revenge.
You ain't kidding. I met some really nice people in my program that I'm still friends with. But
all right, that's good.
And they were at 2 of them were at StokerCon in Stamford to cheer me on. It was very cute of them that they came. But yeah.
Your win at Stoker was very emotional.
Yeah, thank you. I went back and watched it once, and I got like very embarrassed. I felt very silly that I cried so much.
Oh no.
No, not at all.
No, that was all heartfelt emotion. The whole room was with you.
All the feels.
Yes. Thank you. I was really glad that my mom and my wife were there. Like my mom she's not getting younger, so I was happy that she could be there to celebrate and see it happen. And she was so cute, like meeting all of the horror people, and like Paul Tremblay was like really cute with her and everything. And it's like, oh, so it's like she got a real kick out of it. Like, you know, she loves horror and everything, so it meant a lot that she was there. And my wife said, if you don't win, I'm never going to go to another one of these again. So there was a lot of pressure that.
I'll say, wow.
But yeah, that was really, really very overwhelming and very sweet. We put the second Stoker up in the house a couple weeks ago, so it's finally on display.
Yeah. It's good to get that kind of recognition. On my previous podcast, I used to do a geek podcast, and I had Paul Ruger on, who was involved with Hysteria and Animaniacs, and all that stuff that had Steven Spielberg's name on the top. Paul was kind of involved with every piece of that, and at one point he'd done work for Hanna-Barbera, so he has a background of Jellystone as his core background, and he had to disappear into the woods to come back with one of his Emmys to show me. And he said, it took me a moment because every time my wife wins a marathon, she puts her marathon medal on one of my Emmys. And I had to disencumber it so I could show it.
I remember the Warner Brothers casting director, Andrea Romano.
Yep.
She has so many Emmys that she puts Barbie clothes on them.
Oh, wow.
So she dresses like that. So like you go to her office and it's just like nonstop Emmy Awards, and they're all in like wigs and different clothes, and so it's very funny.
Yeah, that was an incredible team they had there. So what do you guys got coming up next? Amy, what you got coming out next?
Thanks for asking. I have a couple of things. I am collaborating with Michael McCarty. I don't know if you guys are familiar. He has quite a few books, and most recently Laughing in the Dark with Evil Cookie Publishing. Mm-hmm. And actually he and I collaborated in 2010, a novella entitled Fallen Angel, but the publisher folded, so the rights reverted back to us. And he wants me to help him revise it for his upcoming collection next year, also with Evil Cookie Publishing. So that's one project. And I'm always writing poetry, short stories, but I also was invited to adapt my sci-fi horror hybrid story entitled Dust for Slay House for their podcast series. Thank you. And that'll be out sometime next year.
Love those guys. Love Slay House.
Yeah, they're awesome. They're great to work with.
Congrats. That's awesome, Amy.
Robert.
Well, thank you, Robert.
That's great. I love that.
That's what I have coming up. What about you, Robert?
Oh, well, I just want to say I loved your poetry collection with Alien Buddha. I love the stuff that they put out in general, but yours was the first thing that I bought from them.
Oh, really?
And then I started paying attention more. And they're just they put out some cool stuff.
John has a book with them. I'm sure
that he does.
Yeah.
My dear boy, John Collins.
Yeah, he's awesome too. Fantastic.
Everybody buy the Leeds Point Horror from Alien Buddha. It is excellent. It is the perfect fall read.
It is.
I have the third part in my young adult horror trilogy that started with the Triangle. The third book is called The Navigator, and it comes out September 19th with Undertaker Books. You can pre-order it now on their website, and I'm really excited about it. I know, like, whenever we all have books and stuff coming out, we're like really excited. In this case, it's like I legitimately am very excited for it because, like, it was really hard writing a trilogy. So, in one way, I'm glad that it's over, but in other ways, I'm really gonna miss some of the characters. So, like, I don't know that I'm totally done playing in that world, but like, I don't know. I just hope people like it and they check it out. And
in my best Hobbit impression, I'm going to say, have you heard about the second trilogy?
That's a bridge too far, I think, to do another 3 of anything. I've been getting the itch to write a sequel to a book of mine that hopefully will have a second life soon. I can't say anything, but I'm hopeful that this book will see the light of day again soon.
Intriguing. Nice.
I have so I have that. I have in December, I have a short story coming out in the Poison Soup anthology, edited by Wendy Dalrymple and Grace Reynolds. I have an essay in there, and I have a short story. And God, is there anything else? I have a lot of events and stuff coming up. I would love it if people would come up to the Beacon Movie Theater on October 6th to come and see the movie. It doesn't get any better than this. It is a horror movie that you can only see live with a crowd in theaters. It'll never be on streaming, and it'll never be in physical media. So come on up to Beacon, New York, October 6th, 7:30. I'm hosting it.
Tell us a little bit about the movie. Get people excited.
Yeah, it's a found footage horror movie, very intense, that basically about a young couple who buy a house to rehab because they're going to live there. And some very strange, almost cosmic spookery begins to happen. People begin congregating outside of the house. Things are happening within the house, almost supernatural in nature. And they're just documenting their like rehabbing of the home, and spooky stuff starts to happen. It's going to be real. People host horror movie screenings all the time at Halloween, and it's like, these are all movies you could see on DVD or Blu-ray. Like, you probably own all of them. This is when you can't see any other way, and this is a communal experience. So I really think it's worth coming on up to Beacon, New York. Check out this movie, celebrate with me. Let's enjoy a brand new experience together.
Very, very cool. I feel like I should clip that section out and send it to you so you can use it as a commercial.
Please. The manager will be very happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Thank you. I'm very excited about it.
Very, very good. Thank you for all of that. Okay, we're gonna wrap things up, so we need our MC. If you guys could all help me holler for Danny. Oh, Danny!
Danny!
Oh, Danny!
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 And that's our show. If you are horror adjacent in books, comics, film, streaming, and want to be on the Horror Words podcast, email drownedrat@horrorwords.com. Good night.